again.
Yeah.
Me
That's
too.
fine.
Hockey's still going.
Let me before we start the show, don't start the show yet, Brandon. Let's start a little late here, but I'm gonna read for everyone an email from one of our employees that came in over the weekend. And he's our conversion person. And I thought that we were gonna lose him, like that he was leaving for some reason. He wrote, this is to the entire Plan Design Consultants team. He wrote, hello, fellow PDCers. Apologies for interrupting what I hope is a pleasant and relaxing evening, as I thought I should blast this out to give everyone a heads up that beginning tomorrow, I will be taking a leave of absence for an undetermined period of time. As the owner of the company, my heart sunk right at that moment. And I'm thinking Chad's going to call me any second and be like, how the fuck are we going to convert all these plans? Like, what's going on? So I'm scared. I continue reading. Next sentence. The reason being, I just came back from seeing the Barbie movie with my daughter, and I will be flying out tomorrow to the backwoods of Tennessee to attend a rehabilitation detoxification boot camp. The brochure promises daily shock therapy treatment as part of the extracurricular activities on the path to wellness. The photo suggests something to do with battery charge type clamps on various parts of human anatomy, which seems quite soothing compared to the 2 hours worth of sensory deprivation I just experienced. So I'm hopeful that sooner than later, I will return to what once I knew was really, never mind, fuck that part. And then he goes, thank you in advance for your support and stay pink. Oh gosh, I mean, keep it real. And anyways, I thought that was hilarious. So. That's the type of people I like working for us, Chad, right? That's who you want.
It scared Devin too. Devin called me at 10:15 when that hit his inbox, and he's like, "Have you read the email yet? Lance is leaving. Lance is leaving." He was freaking out. I said, "You haven't been here long enough to know Lance's candor."
Chat bar, everyone that's here, thank you for attending another Retireholics. I've made a commitment to myself and to this show. We're going to start treating you better. We're going to start paying more attention to you and appreciating the relationship that the Retireholics have with the chat bar. With that, I had ChatGPT. I mean, I wrote a poem about our relationship. Damn it. And I'd like to read it for y'all today from the bottom of my heart. In the podcast realm, a love did ignite. Retireholics in the chat bar on a Thursday night. A bond unbreakable, an obsession so sweet. In the virtual world where hearts truly meet. Retireholics speak, wisdom they share. Their audience, the chat bar, always there. Funny comments, laughter in the air. A love story unfolds beyond compare. The Retireholics tongue down the chat bar's throat. But the love is so strong, neither one of them choke. 401k obsession, a connection so rare. Tonight, I can feel it. Love is in the air.
Wow. I
Love
think
you
you need to
guys.
let chat write that more often for you.
Love
That was-
everyone out there. Love everyone out
I was
there.
there.
Did Chat really wrote that?
I made some adjustments.
I
Chat.
thought so.
Chat.
I made some
Chat,
adjustments.
I mean.
I'd like to go first to Aaron Schum on Twitter, if we could. He recently put out a tweet complaining.
Wait, hold on. It's not Twitter.
It's not Twitter.
Well, I also thought we could discuss
Twitter.
that, guy, hence the graphic. Sorry, X. How do you feel about Twitter now being X, Rogue Guy?
Stupid.
It's the
Now, I
name
will
thing.
say that app button or whatever is way cooler, but it's a dumb name.
Yeah, I liked the little bird. That was cool. Had
No,
some
the X
sand.
the X is cooler than the bird,
Okay, fair enough.
but
Mark's got X gonna bring it to you in his head when he says
Well,
it too.
On Aaron Shim's X account, he writes, I'm so over this hashtag hybrid work world. Repeating the same update 10 times in quick one-off convos rather than a 5-minute huddle in the office is widely inefficient. I'm excited for our, what is that, like back to the office?
Return to office?
Return to office.
Ramp. And I was thinking, and I commented pretty quickly after, I'm like, you can't huddle, you can't have a 5-minute huddle online. Like, what's the point? And he wrote back and he goes, sure, but that's not efficient. In reality, it'll take 10 minutes to like schedule that with everyone. I'm just thinking like, you need better technology, bro. I thought
no. I see Aaron's point here. Okay. So think of that. Like if we were all still in the office, JD, and again, when you're the chief executive officer and the owner of the company, and you go around, you're like, hey guys,
now.
Yeah, we're all gonna be like, whatever we're doing, it gets dropped and we're in there. But if you text us and you're like, hey guys, jump on to Zoom for 5 minutes, Justin might be down the street getting some lunch. Chad's probably mowing his lawn in the backyard. I'm probably asleep. So it's like, yeah, it's going to take way longer than 10 minutes to get people into a 5-minute meeting. So I agree wholeheartedly with Aaron.
Justin,
can you just stop? We don't need JD getting any ideas. We don't need another office. We don't need to go back to work.
We can't afford an office, dude. Don't worry. It's fine.
It's funny that Mark brings that up because that was the owner thought me was like, well, Aaron, if all of your employees are at their desk working 9 to 5, which they should be, whether they're at home or in the office, you should, through technology, I would think, be able to set up a 5-minute huddle faster than being an asshole walking through the office, interrupting everyone that's answering emails on the phone and saying, meet me in the conference room in 5. Like, that's a dick move too. I would think in this modern world, you could say, hey, let's have a quick chat. Who can make it? Meet me in this virtual room and do it. But I think the bigger conversation, I'll go to you here, Trey, is like, where do you stand on the let's get back in the office? The old times were the better way. They were more efficient. We could collaborate more versus, no, this new world is great where we're all at home in our pajamas working harder. Where do you stand on that?
Well, we have a hybrid model. So, the team can work from home on Monday, Thursday, and Friday, and then are in the office on Tuesday and Wednesday, which is also when we have our we have a weekly meeting on Wednesday, and it gives us a chance for any of these like ad hoc huddles, things like that. And then we have a daily pulse on the remote days where we're all on for 15 minutes just to kind of get an idea of where everybody is that day and what they're working on. So I think it kind of depends on the company, its own culture, kind of work that you do. Sometimes, I think if it's more creative, collaborative type work, it seems like there's magic that happens when you're physically with each other compared to being on Zoom. But even that's a broad stroke. I think it's just really.
I think it might be. It's no secret to a lot of people. Another company that Brandon and I are working in right now and have lots of meetings is a design company. Like graphic design and website creation and logos and.
We don't talk about that on this show. Come on, dude.
But my point is that it's as Trey would describe. That's very creative. We do just fine on the internet talking to each other and throwing ideas at each other. I might even argue sometimes the ability for someone to share an image, a project, a thing, is better than standing in a conference room.
And trying to coordinate the technology and get everybody in there with their laptops, if that's the kind of meeting. Yeah, absolutely right. I will tell you, whether it's just me or it's others, I was in Cali last week. I was driving home from San Diego. I rang Justin, I rang Devin, and I'm like, hey guys, I'm coming back. You want to stop for a beer or a cup of coffee? When we sat down at the table, it felt exactly like we were having a Zoom meeting. Like, it didn't feel like we do anything different in a Zoom meeting. We bullshit for 15 minutes. We talk about business for a half an hour, and we move on to the next thing. Like, it was perfect.
I don't know.
Wow.
I never have chips and guac and margaritas when I'm on Zoom.
That's true.
I didn't realize the minute Chad came into California, if he's on the road, he gives you a call. You better be ready to meet him for lunch. Like,
Yeah, that's
I'd rather
right,
meet
dude.
you in a conference room,
Boom.
buddy.
I canceled 2 meetings for that shit.
Wow.
It's funny.
No,
It sounds like Trey is on the fence, or he's got his politically correct, like, well, it depends, or I like the hybrid model. Great.
Well, I mean,
But-
it's not that I mean, we use the hybrid model, so that's what we do. But I mean, as far as like kind of a grander thought about it, you know, I think there's certain things that we do better in office versus others. Like when everyone's just kind of cranking out their tasks, remote's awesome because you're not as distracted. Even in some of the meetings when we're just really just trying to get an idea, either a quick decision on something or, you know, something like that, I think it works great. Something I think where we really have to kind of dive deep, roll up our sleeves, especially if we're ideating and that kind of thing. I find personally, and maybe that's just the Gen X in me, I like being around because it just seems like there's almost like this other force that's there or something that's present that's not when we are digitally online with
This
each
is
other.
why I love the chat bar, because Trey, you were speaking so eloquently. I really didn't want to make you stumble over what you're saying because I have a tendency to do that. But the whole chat bar just what you don't use big words on this show.
I love ideating. Oh my God. I wish I could tell you why.
I can't even say that right. I stumble over it.
Oh my God. I wish I could tell you, but I can't. You forbid me from it. I think Tony was onto something, and we talked about this in a past episode and we'll move on, but he said it's only the man that wants people back at the office. And I think there's a shred of truth to that, where this is where Aaron Schoon's coming from. There was a time when I proposed as the man a concept where this virtual office would be cool if I could see all of my employees at their virtual desk, you know, kind of like the metaverse or whatever. And it was decided by everyone on the show and here in the audience was that, like, that's just me wanting to control the people that work for me. And so I think Tony makes a lot of sense. It seems like a lot of the employees are like, give me my freedom, give me my flexibility, let me be efficient. I don't want to waste time in the company kitchen and by the water cooler and doing all this crap. And so I love working from home. And then it's the people that own the fucking company that are paying all these people that are like, it must be a mistrust thing. It's got to be like a.
And I can confidently say I am more productive because of the lack of travel time, but way less productive when I'm sitting at the desk. Like back when I was physically in office, when I was at the desk and not walking around talking to people, it was solely focused on everything right here. Now I'm at home and I'm at the desk, the kids are running down, the dog needs to be let out, there's food right upstairs, I'm gonna go make another cup of coffee. There's constant distraction. So I get more done because I'm not spending an hour, 2 hours behind the wheel every day, but I'm not nearly as efficient sitting.
You remember the old executive gripe though of going to the office? And here's another the man problem or the woman who's running the company is when I would go to the office, I feel like I couldn't get shit done because everyone that works for me is knocking on my fucking door and needs to talk to me.
When you go
something.
in once a month, that's what happens.
And you're also the guy that's always like, my door's always open.
No, I never said that. And by the way, Mark and everyone else that worked for me back then, what part of me walking into the office, going straight to my office and closing my door says, stay the fuck away from me? Like, why don't they understand?
I don't remember a single time like that, to be honest with you.
Let's intro our guest, shall we, Justin? And then I can move on to another subject. So take it away, Justin. Time to intro the guest and chat bar, wink, wink.
You know the rules.
You know the rules.
We were 8 years old when we learned Trey's name is not his real name. His namesake is third in line because his parents are still living in the time of the Caesars. His real name is Guy. It's the man who does all the actual work for wealth at work, unlike that pickleball playing motherfucker who just happens to be Toter's only fan. Father of 10 is the approver of our annual rider. He's the best looking man on this panel with the shittiest camera. The real brains behind the operations, the CFO, advisor to Mr. Guy, Trey Cool Dowdy.
Thank you for having me. Good to be here, guys.
Cheers. I don't know how many I did there.
It's
We're
about
excited
time,
to have you, Trey.
It's about time.
always considered you to be a friend, and it's great to have you. The fucking Acrosin is going off
Yeah,
the
it is pretty
chain
bad.
tonight, and so it's great
Yeah.
to have you here.
Brandon, not to be like picky on these visuals you make, but they got to snap. They got to be quick. They're just a boom, then they're done. Okay.
I don't think his internet's flying.
No, I'm the one pressing the buttons. I'm just letting him know when he
Oh.
creates them to make them faster.
Okay, wow. He's gonna enjoy that. He'll probably have a call with you later. Let's jump to cash balance plans, and let's talk about. Chad sent this to me in an email. He wants to have a more in-depth internal meeting about this. He's had some advisors bring it up, and I think we can stay general with it too. Like, we haven't talked a lot about cash balance plans on this show, yet we sell them all the time. And let's speak specifically to the investments in a cash balance plan. I was always taught that I thought you had to do this, that the appropriate investment for a cash balance, and remember, everyone out there, this is a pool, right? You know, the participants in the cash balance don't individually direct their investments. It's pooled for the whole group. And I was always taught that you had to find a very conservative, dare I say, safe investment that you could clock in kind of this 4% type of return every year, but something built for that. And there are, by the way, like mutual funds were built for that very purpose, as well as people kind of building their own. Well, this starts to pop up for Chad a little bit, this idea of market rate returns and cash balances. And apparently this is okay. Is it since 2019? I don't know, but you can do this now. You can have market rate returns. It just comes with some of the pros and cons. Chad, do you think I've described that properly? And what kind of push are you getting from advisors?
Yeah, you described it properly, and Guy's already saying it's a horrible idea.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of where we're standing with this, guys. I keep getting the push from advisors who I think want to show more value in the cash balance space, and they think in doing so, I shouldn't be restricted to targeting a 4 to 6% rate of return. And for those that don't know, the cash balance, like a defined benefit, we're defining an amount of money that should be there in retirement. So we want stable rates of return. And usually we write into the plan that they're going to have a notional rate of return of 5%, meaning their principal is going to grow by 5% each year. And if they do more or they do less, then more or less dollars need to go into the plan to essentially keep it solvent. And I've had advisors over the last few years come at me, once, twice, 3 times a year. Now it's coming far more frequent where they're saying, no, we're getting told that you can actually do market rates of return. And if we do shitty, then everybody does shitty and the client doesn't have to make up for the loss in the rate of return. And if we do really well, then everybody gets a share of the really well and the client doesn't have to lower their funding level. And I always have to slow them down and say, number one, that's not right. If you do really well and you're exceeding a benefit, because most of the plans we write to be fully funded and maxing out their
Right.
executives, then they're going to exceed the amount that they're allowed to get out of the plan. And then we
You
have
can-
to pull
and-
back what they can.
And
put
just
away.
like I was taught, the whole reason behind not having an investment in your cash balance pool that does a 20% return in some year is that you're going to fuck up next year's contributions to those people. And that's really, dare I say, why they put it in place. I understand it's a defined benefit plan, and the way that it's built is kind of to create this recurring revenue in retirement, just like the old school pension plans. But the reality is, a lot of these people that have these cash balance plans, these business owners, are looking at it like, oh, I can defer $175,000 next year.
Yep.
And I can do that every year. And if you come to them and say, guess what? You can't do that anymore because your investments did too well, that doesn't really line up with their needs, right?
No, and I try to slow folks down typically in this conversation and say, remember, we're not opening up the cash balance targeting rate of return. We're opening up the cash balance targeting tax efficiency.
Right, perfect.
That's the objective here. If you want to try to crush it out of the ballpark, use the profit sharing safe harbor 401k side and use the cash balance with the notional rate of return. But I'm not going to lie. This is why I wrote you and said I want to dig in, because some of the articles I've read, and I think it was October 3 I met with, there are a few that have some pretty compelling arguments. Now, every single one I get, though, seems to fit in the larger market.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say.
Where you can dilute it with a lot of participants.
And that was Guy's comment too, right? Is this doesn't work in the normal small, medium, micro market, but maybe in that like big company. But there's also
something we got to be open to. We have, not only do we need to understand it better, but I need to make sure that if we have those advisors that are really looking to create this value for their client, they think this is their differentiator against another advisor that's doing cash balance plans, then I need to be ready to talk intelligently about it. And I don't feel like I've gotten enough insight to do that. I haven't found a resource to get us there.
I feel like there's a couple of decent articles out there on the internet that I seems to me most people agree with Guy that in the smaller plan space, which to me is, I mean, call me
where most of these
small and micro. That's where cash balance exists for me. I can't even imagine selling a cash balance to a 500 person firm or 1,000 person firm. I don't even quite honestly know how that even makes sense, but shame on me. I don't play in that big of a lake, you know?
We did 2 in the last 2 years, well north of like 150 employees.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And it was because they had so many key partners of the company that they wanted to max benefit, that only covering 50 was easy. And it made perfect tax sense for them.
Well, I didn't want to get too technical, but I thought that was interesting. And that's the kind of shit we want to talk about on this show and stuff like that. So cash balance, we don't talk about it often. It's a great thing, comes with some nuances. Let's move on to Maine and Colorado partnering with each other. This caught me off guard. Maine and Colorado to partner on a state-sponsored plan. I had to do like a geography test for myself real quick, which I knew wasn't true. But I was like, am I that dumb? Like, is Colorado next to Maine? What am I not understanding? Which clearly they're not. So I don't know. Anyone want to chime in so I don't take all the talking here?
I'm just waiting for you to talk about being the start of the state-run PEP. I'll drink for that.
I think what was happening is Maine wants to get into the state-run stuff. Colorado already is down that path and has their thing kind of figured out. And I think 2 things happened. Maine said, why should we reinvent the wheel? I have no idea why the connection between Maine and Colorado. I don't know. Maybe they just have beers together or something on the weekends. But they said, hey, these guys are already got this thing set up. Why don't we just kind of follow their lead? And then secondly, and I don't know how I feel about this, and it's kind of where I maybe want to take this conversation is that they could get more economies of scale, get lower fees. And so what I'd like to ask,
can they? I mean, they don't have that big of a population. I'm trying to understand the point of this too. It doesn't make sense to me. Why not just replicate what they did?
Let's just say that 2 is better than 1. I can accept that. And this is not a pooled employer plan argument. Like, I can accept that a higher head count and more assets can garner you lower fees. By the way, Vestwell is the record keeper on this thing. I'll tell you what I'd like the conversation I'd like to start hearing in future nights is anyone out there digging into the fee structures of these state-run plans? There was a time when I dug into Oregon Saves. And remember, I took our friend, we met her live up in Oregon. She was running the Oregon Saves plan, and I kind of drug her through the coals on how I felt like the fee structure wasn't all that competitive. That was a long time ago. I think some people have looked at CalSavers and made some of the same comments. I know there's been some shift in vendors, like some states have chosen vendors and then discontinued those contracts. And it's usually been about profitability for the vendor that agreed to do it. Like, it wasn't reaching the levels that they were hoping for. And so they were losing money. I hope Aaron Schum's not losing money on all these state-run deals that he's inking. But part of me would love to understand those numbers. So that's what I'm throwing out to everyone. How do you guys feel about the fees?
Oh, I don't want to talk about fees.
Okay, go ahead.
I had a different take when I read this. It just reeks of, like, in school when you did a group project and there was always one person who didn't do anything but took the credit. Like, this is what that reeks of. They're like, Bobby, we don't want to spend time thinking about this. So why not just do what they're doing. That's fine. And again, maybe the people in Washington that represent those states are good friends, go back, college. I don't know, but I'm just saying, I kind of laughed a little bit, but I'd say this is probably just the tip of the iceberg, right? I'm sure many other states are probably on the fence and they're like, didn't know we could do that. But obviously there's legal shit that has to be figured out, because at the end of that article, you saw that they were Colorado was supposed to be doing this with New Mexico, but that's in sort of some legal amendment process right now, so they haven't finalized it. So Maine kind of jumped in and beat them to the punch.
Wow, Mark, are you here to tell me that you read the article all the way to the end? I'm impressed. My God.
I'm just here to remind you that I know how to read. Yeah.
What I would like to motivate. Go ahead, Chad.
I was going to say two thoughts. One being, if you read the article from a slightly different perspective than you all did, I don't see them saying it's going to lower the cost of the program itself. Really? I don't think Vestwell went to Colorado and said, we're going to drop your fees now that you got Maine to join us.
Okay.
I interpreted it as Maine and Colorado saying the oversight of this from a state level can now be split by the two different governments.
They can lower their internal operational expenses.
Okay. And oversight. That's the way I interpret it. The other thing that I wish we could see, and we've said this a couple of times, I would love to see the employees of Maine be able to just simply use the Colorado state mandated plan.
Well,
why do we have to create a Maine plan?
What you would love to see, and I think maybe you're leaning towards this, is like a national template. Like, why not just have a national?
Absolutely. And I know I'm going to get some shit for this. I'm not necessarily saying that I'm wholeheartedly into a national mandate, although I will argue that I could be. What I would rather see is instead, if you are a small employer and you live somewhere on the East Coast, where often, even for us, we've got employees in 9, 10 states now. And you have to go into each of those states and claim exemption from their individual plans. Why can't we just have a plan? Why can't California's plan be offered to employees of other states? And I know it's the facilitation of the state taxes and such, but I just think that we're fucking things up. We're making it way more difficult when we're trying to get people to save.
Let me try to explain something to you, Chad. There are 50 states in the United States of America, and each of them have rights, and that they can make their own laws and regulations within these states. So this is why different states have different things, you dumb fucking dipshit.
Hey, I'm not saying.
Wow, you really recovered from your geography comment.
Yeah, hey, JD, when's the last time you sold a plan?
I'm saying that
2010
should be able to use it. Even if it's not a mandate, why can't employees of one state use the state-ran IRA of a different state?
Right. Well, and what you're saying too is
I would like to know what Trey thinks. That's what I want to know.
Well, I just saw it come up on the chat feed. I agree with Chad. It's just like how 529 plans are, right? If the idea here is to increase savings, and just short of having a federal plan, right, that everyone can plug into, then why not allow the other ones to be able to plug into other states? I don't see why either, especially since we're dealing with plans that are really effective more on the federal level anyway, right? Maybe I don't know enough of the how it could vary state to state. I mean, it's simply a individual retirement arrangement, right?
Yeah.
And so
to me,
I'm not real sure why it varies state to state anyway, personally, but
well,
I don't know why does it vary state to state?
It would vary. I would answer that question by simply saying, like, there are some states that think having a mandate is the right way to go, and there are other states that does not align with their principles or their politics. So, like, it goes all the way back to, not to get all serious on it, but it goes all the way back to these states want to have their own rights and how they govern their people. And it's just, let's not talk about abortion, please, but it's the same thing. Of like, having
But-
different
That's a
abortion
stretch.
rules
But
and
it's like,
stuff like.
but once the plan's
can't
already
believe we went
established,
there.
though, like to what Chad was saying, then that state said, okay, we do want to. This is how we govern our people. But why couldn't a state that doesn't have access to
Yes.
one be able to do
Yes.
it?
Sure.
Right? I don't
California
understand
has
what.
a. That'd be great. California has a state mandate, and you respond to California and say, "I'm in the Maine plan, bro. I'm all good. I set up on the Maine plan. I'm solid. We have one." I don't know.
Well,
You guys are
or
crazy.
you're a California-based business and you've got employees in different states. Like, can those employees that are sitting in Tennessee use the Cal Savers
Can-
plan?
Can
The answer right now is no, they can't.
Can someone explain something to me? Holly said vest welly up, and I don't know what it's referencing, and I don't know if I'm smart enough to understand it, but I love it. What is she talking about?
That's welly up.
Vest welly up. Holly, let me know. Let me know in the chat bar. Let's spin the wheel of ice, and then I got a surprise for everybody. A really good surprise.
The wheel of ice, the wheel of
Oh, just fat fingers. I think you should trademark that. God damn
Every
it.
time I hold it up, JD gets it.
Okay.
Good odds.
All right. Before I pound this, let me set up the next segment. It's a brand new segment. And remember, I said I love the chat bar, right? So I'd like to get closer to the chat bar. And I mean that in a physical and a sexual sense. Like I want to get as close to them as I possibly can because I love them and I'm obsessed with them. So what I'd like to do is isolate a certain, reoccurring chat bar local that comes on the regular and get to know them a little better. So I'd like to call it chat bar XOXO. And today we're all going to get to learn a little more about Mr. Hackler. Now, you might ask yourself, how will you get to know more about Mr. Hackler? Well, I think the best way would be to talk to one of his loved ones. Let's get someone who knows him on the show and we can talk to them. So Brandon, if you could, I need you to promote the guest Mike, simply Mike, as a panelist. Bring it on.
No video.
And everybody, we are going to be talking to, assuming I can make this all work. Where is she? Where is she? Come on, Brandon.
I don't think
But if
you
she not
met
have her
the
camera
actual
on?
guest named Mike.
If she doesn't have her camera
Where
on, we
is
can
it?
just go audio too, Brandon, if that's the thing. Are you there? There she is.
Yes.
We were going to talk to Will Hackler's 22-year-old daughter, Maddie. Hi, Maddie. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Hi,
Very
Maddie.
good. I'm gonna.
Oh, so Hackler had no clue, huh?
Do we keep it a secret? Let's see, boys. You had some good questions. I don't want to steal anyone's, so I'll start with. I'll just do one of Brandon since Brandon's audio sucks today. Brandon wanted to know, Maddie, does your mom sleep in the same bed as your dad and his golf clubs?
No, actually.
No.
The
Golf clubs get the right.
Oh, the golf clubs are not in the bed. Okay, Maddie. How many paintings of himself does your dad have hanging in the house? Paintings or pictures?
I guess none.
Okay, none. That's
that's
good. That would
We
be
need to
that'd be a red-
send Hack a painting of himself.
that'd be a red
That should be
flag.
up.
That'd be a red flag.
Like the one from Wedding Crashers.
I'll do one more and then I'll let the boys take it over. I know that he recently went to a Taylor Swift concert.
Yes.
This is a two-part question, Maddie. Would you call him a Swiftie? And do you think he danced at the concert?
Well, he has been to now 3 Taylor Swift concerts with me, so yes, I do consider him a Swiftie. And yes, he did dance a little bit. His favorite thing to do, though, is to count how many costume changes she has.
Oh, wow. Very analytical.
That sounds
Very
like him.
analytical of him. And give me an over under on that. What are we talking? Like 15, 20, 10?
I
What's
mean, I think the number was about 15 to 20 this time. He likes to bet with everyone around us.
Over unders.
I mean, the Eras, is it the Eras tour or the Era tour? I don't know, but it's
Don't act like you don't know.
I know. I mean, I have been known to throw a little Swifty on from time to time. Justin, you have a question for Maddie.
I got two. How many AA meetings does he attend a week?
I mean, unless he's keeping that a secret.
Well, it is in the name,
my
right?
God.
Yeah, it is.
Don't most
Oh, God
people
damn it.
keep
That's
their
also
name?
an acronym, Justin.
Yeah,
I
that's
forgot.
what I said. God
I
damn it.
just said it.
All right, the next one. Does he weep when Taylor Swift swings "We Are Never Getting Back Together"?
What'd you say?
Does he weep when Taylor Swift sings "We Are Never Getting Back Together"?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Thought so. Thought so.
Mark, you have a question for Maddie?
Man, these are brutal questions, Matt. I wanna learn. Unlike my compadres here, I'd like to learn a little bit more about your dad. I've spent some time with him, but not nearly as much as you, obviously. I got a couple of questions, but I would like you to share a story. What would be probably the most embarrassing story about your dad that you could share with all of us?
Good one.
And we promise you're 22, he can't ground you anymore.
That's not true, dude.
He
You
can't
don't
freeze
listen to
funds,
Chad.
though.
Yeah, he can do a lot to ground you, like literally keep you on the ground.
I love that she thinks about it. She's like, I gotta make sure I get the right one here.
Okay, how about that? How about this? Table that thought until maybe the end to get the creative juices flowing. Instead, how about this? What's something that I have so many directions I can go here. Okay, let's go sentimental. Did he cry when you left for your first day of school when you were a kindergartner? Like I cried this morning when my son did? Okay, this isn't about me. This is about him.
I don't remember that. That was a long time ago.
Honest answer.
How about when
Maddie.
you graduated from high school? Did he cry?
Yes, he did.
Yeah. Okay.
This guy
All right,
has a
Chad.
sentimental side with
I
all
think
of
I
his
hear
meanness.
mom in the background right now. Do you guys?
Is
Oh,
mom
this
there?
Your mom
isn't
whispering
fair.
something. Yeah, yeah.
Is mom there? Can she hear us?
He cried at her very last dance recital.
Mom, can I ask you, Mom, is it hard keeping all the food in your house because your husband eats it all?
Jeez.
Very hard, yes. Very, very hard.
How good of a golfer does your dad think he is? Not what you think he is. On a 0 to 10, how good does Hackler think he is at golf?
I mean,
Be honest.
he probably a 10.
Hey, he drove 5 hours to play golf this morning or today. I chatted with him earlier.
Does he iron his tidy whities prior to wearing them?
No.
That's a question for mom.
What-
I feel like you needed to
What
look
is
to
up
your
with all the
right.
fish belts?
What? Fish melt?
What's up with all the fish belts? The belt. They always have fish on.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't know. They sell them at the PGA store.
That's where he shops. Okay. Maddie, it's been years now that on a Thursday night, your dad would crawl down into some basement or some offshoot room, close the door. He'd probably bring like 12 beers with him. And
Those early days.
and he'd be gone for 2 hours watching some creepy podcast on his monitor. Were you worried about him at that time? Yes or no? And what do you think the average number of beers consumed on a show back in the day was?
I thought it was a little weird, but the average number, I'm not quite sure because he used to have a mini fridge in the basement.
So just like his AA meetings, he keeps that under wraps.
So yeah.
Oh, damn it. Trey, do you have a question for Maddie before we let her go?
I do. Did your dad clean his chainsaw when you brought your first boy home?
Um,
Yeah, how does
Because
he feel?
I having two daughters can understand that. So
not that I know of.
So
you don't
is
remember.
he? So is he friendly to boyfriends, or like does he say hello and talk to them and they like him and are nice to them, or is he more standoffish?
He's best friends with my sister's boyfriend.
Okay, hacky.
Mm.
All right, I have one last one for you. And I want you to be super honest.
What about
with
Chad?
me.
Chad doesn't ask a question.
Let's chat. Have a good one, Chad.
You guys took them all. I was just gonna tell Maddie that I spent some time with your dad and your mom in Arizona, and they talked a lot about you and not much about your sister. So you must be pretty special.
No.
We know who
Thought
the
I could get a
favorite is.
reaction there.
We'll end with that one. Maddie, I just want to tell you, you're 22 years old. You
Yes.
seem very well put together, very smart, very personable. I'm
Way
shocked.
more put together than we are.
Yeah, I'm shocked that Hackler is your father. And also my son, who's 19, is a complete fuck up compared to you. So
Oh
good
my
job,
God.
Maddie. Keep it going. Keep it going. He's supposed to be on this damn show tonight, drinking beers for Trey. Okay, Maddie, thank you so much. And I promise you, I will erase your number from my phone right now. You'll never hear from me again. I know that would be a creepy experience for you. So thanks for
You
everything.
rock, Maddie. Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Bye, Mrs. Hackler.
See you, Mike.
Bye.
And that has been a segment called Chat Bar XOXO.
JD, you were saying you were surprised that Hack had something to do with raising her. I will get back to my shit because he's pretty awesome. But her mom is legit. Like Hack married up. Her mom's
Yeah.
legit.
Right.
I think there's a lot of that in there.
Fair enough. I probably would have assumed that. Okay, we're gonna go next.
I was hoping to see more from him in the chat bar. You guys see anything? He's been
I think
silent.
he's driving still.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It was really awkward, by the way, for me to text his daughter and be like, "Hey, it's one of the guys from that creepy show. Do you want to help me out with something?" Okay, what I'd like to do now is go to a bit of a potpourri subject, if you will. It's no secret to anyone. Trey's from Advisor 2X. They put on numerous conferences, but one of the conferences that we all love from the bottom of our heart is the Wealth at Work. And it's in DC this year, or we don't call it DC. Where is it?
Yeah, it's National Harbor.
Oh shit, National at the Gaylord. I have two.
Yep, you said it twice.
Yep.
You're welcome.
And what I'd like to do is I have written down many of the speakers and subjects that appear on the agenda right now. Wealthatwork.live is where it's at. Did I get that right, Trey? Wealthatwork.live. And
Correct.
so I'm just going to pull from the hat any one of these random subjects, and we'll just have a small little conversation about it. Sound good?
Let's
do it.
And is Roby gone for good?
Apparently, he's not in the queue list
I
anymore.
thought he had to leave at 5:30, not like in the middle of the show, but maybe I'm wrong. He probably told me that. Oh boy.
No, he said
This is not the first one I wanted to pull. Okay. Good thing Roby's not here. Financial wellness, how to build it out. Brad Aarons of IntelliSense and Sam Mitchell of Sentinel Group will be doing this presentation at 11 a.m. on Tuesday, the 17th. I think these two have presented
They all right?
before, and people have enjoyed it. Here's what I want to ask you, Trey. Not necessarily this specific presentation, because I'm tired of talking about wellness, to be honest with you. But I noticed in looking through the agenda, I don't know, I think you got like half a dozen wellness topics. So I've been brainwashed by Roby. Apparently you're all committee and everyone running this conference thinks that this is a very hot topic and a big one. I mean, can you give us any kind of insights or thoughts on that? Wellness permeates your agenda
Oh
throughout.
God, are we talking about wellness?
Just in time.
Dude, I got kicked out after Maddie left. I thought maybe you guys finally let me go.
I think we're starting to, wellness has been kicked around for the last few years. And I think what we're seeing now, though, is kind of the idea and its execution is more mature now than it was several years ago, when it was really starting to kind of, this whole idea of convergence and trying to offer more planning to the masses and addressing more on the participant level. And, even when we changed our name, Wealth at Work, we were incorporating that idea into it, where it's not just the 401k plan, but it's just that broader sense of how to make sure that employees or participants are building wealth, right? Not just through their plan, but through other means too, so that when they retire, they're actually ready for it. So I think what we're seeing now, it's not that wellness, the idea of it, that's obviously not new, and I'm kind of tired of it myself. But I think how it's being executed and the different tools that are available now that weren't available 5 years ago.
Well said. That's well said.
I think one of the things that I'm actually excited about with artificial intelligence is how it's going to be able to up the game with being able to service participants and give them a level of advice or service that is difficult to do now with an advisor servicing a plan. I think it's going to kind of be, I don't know, I kind of see Sigourney Weaver and that thing at the end of Aliens. That's kind of how I picture artificial intelligence, making it the advisor more like RoboCop. But it won't replace an advisor. I think an augment, but I think it's going to enable some of these services to be pushed out to the participants that just was hard to do 5, 6, 7 years ago.
For sure, one of the challenges wellness has faced is scalability, right? And how to help the masses. That's one of its biggest problems, because the math doesn't work, right? How are you going to help 1,000 people out of plan that don't have large assets in their account and make that profitable in some way? And you're right, Trey, like artificial intelligence, one of the values it's going to have is to be able to look at large sets of data and make intelligent assumptions about that data and push out communications, as well as you pointed to offer help. They can go and ask. But I agree with you. I think artificial intelligence can impact lots of things. And so could it impact financial wellness? Of course. And I also like what you said about, I think every time we get a wellness person on our show, Roby hints towards the concept of like, okay, well, is it working? How many people are taking it up? How many people are adopting it? And I think we still get some pretty pitiful answers from a lot of them. They kind of dance around and try to figure it out. So I do hope at Wealth at Work that most of those, dare I call them breakouts, most of those presentations are more about like, look, this is succeeding, this is working, this is reaching this percentage of the population. And obviously, I think the point of seeing it throughout your agenda is the industry is not giving up on it. Chad, you look like you had a thought, and then we can move on.
I had two quick things. One being, and we've said this before in the past, do we all feel that this is a necessary step in the evolution of our space? And I think our answer is yes. We want to service more lower account balance people that truly need the help, that don't have an outside advisor. And we want them to pay down their credit card debt before they start saving into the 401k. Like, these are general financial aspects that these people need. And if the answer is yes, we think that this is part of what people need, then we need to keep doing it. We can't stop just because the take rates are low. We can't move away from it when we know it's a necessity.
That's the thing right there, Chad. It's the need versus the want conversation, right? Because there's more people who think that people want it and not enough people know that they need it. Okay. It's because it's been
very true,
marketed and branded incorrectly. And I'm not saying I know how to do it. I'm just saying facts, like, I agree. I think everybody needs it wholeheartedly.
And we need to keep pushing. That is my only point. Like, when you initially said it, JD, I was like, oh my gosh, 8 times on the agenda. And then as we started talking, I'm like, yeah, I get it. It should be. And then the other point, did you see Holly's comment, which I had never heard it before? Holly said in the chat bar, she sets up more wellness with employee benefits than she does with retirement. And I started to think, oh, because we're so narrowly focused on the retirement plan space, we see this as a byproduct of the 401k. But she's 80% more, she says. She's seeing it when she's doing the full employee benefits picture versus the retirement picture.
I don't
Maybe
know
we're
what the
just slightly
trigger-
narrow-minded in that.
I don't know what the trigger is there, why that would be the case. I
Because
feel
they're
like
thinking more holistically, perhaps,
they'd be the
than
same.
just investments.
Lisa Lisa Allen said that this wellness thing is inevitable. And
Good.
I don't know, Lisa. I might challenge you on that. I think that it's right. Like I'll kind of back up what everyone said so far. Like I would love to see a future where workplace retirement plans, or to Holly's point, workplace benefits was the conduit for individuals' personal financial planning and wellness, however you want to define that. But to Mark's point, you can't force feed the people what they don't want. I mean, if they don't want it, or they're not in any position to be looking at their finances in that way, sometimes we have to step back and realize, Lisa, that we're kind of myopic. Like we're obsessed with this shit because we live, breathe, and sleep it every day. And we're so obsessed with financial planning and retirement and your wealth and your money. There's a lot of people that are just fine living their life and don't give a shit about that stuff. Am I right, Chad? Tell me Missouri is not, going fishing and drinking a beer.
You're
And they don't
so
give a
very
fuck if
right.
they got, yeah.
It doesn't change the fact that it's needed. And yet forcing it, Mark, your point was valid. Like, I don't even know how to respond other than create a mandate that forces them to use wellness. Like,
Well, I
I don't know, but it's needed.
I will end this right now and we'll move on to another one here. But the scoreboard so far would say the odds don't look great. So I'd love to see this change. But so far, I kind of would jump over to Roby's camp and be like, nothing's working yet, people. Like I am not seeing plan sponsors lining up to do this and advocate for it and push for it. And by the way, you might get it at Meta and Google and some large, Fortune 5,000 company, but the most of businesses are small to medium-sized businesses across the US. And I think when you think about a wellness program at a 5-person flower shop on the corner, I think people start laughing about that. Like you're going.
I love that you always say,
yeah, I do.
Flower shop.
No,
Yeah,
I say auto shop or flower shop. I gotta come.
Isn't it called a florist though? Like,
thank you, Mark. Florist. The next one. Prospecting Powerhouse is the title. This relates to prospecting with, Internal Revenue Service 5500s. It's presented by Craig Rosenthal of Fiduciary Decisions. It's at 1:50 on Monday, October 16th. I'm going to skip by you, Trey, because I don't know how much of your day you spend thinking about prospecting with 5500s, but we can get your thoughts here in a second. But Justin, advisors come to you. They want to know how to grow their business. Is this so 10 years ago? Or do we still mine IRS 5500 data to find prospecting opportunities to call on, email on? What did I do? Damn it.
What did he say? It's more prevalent, I think, with the newer advisors. Definitely, it's still something they're doing. That's what they're calling record keepers and getting lists for and stuff. And they come to us and ask about trying to find some holes. But I think there's definitely other ways. And it's not as popular as it used to be.
Trey, are you familiar with this presentation? I mean, you don't get to see all. You are, okay. So you think Craig's going to bring some new insights on how to analyze 5500s and kick open doors of opportunities?
Well, I think, to Justin's point, if you're newer in the industry, it'll be, if you've never done it before, then he'll bring some insight. But I also think if advisors that are in the space that have hit a bump and maybe aren't bringing on prospects like they would like, then it would get them to look at it again.
I've always thought it can
all
be.
I can say is if you want to be prepared, why not take a look at them? Right. I don't think it should be the driving force behind your prospecting. But if you can go in and talk to a couple of points saying like, hey, you got
But
X
you're just-
amount of
But
participants.
you're just talking about like meeting prep now, Mark. Like I told no one's.
Yeah, no, I think you
you.
should utilize. So sorry, to my answer to your question probably be no.
Yeah. No, I like that you said that, but you're just saying like you're going to use a Fit 500 to like get some type of knowledge on what you're walking into. But I think this presentation is built on how you can really mine this data. Trey, you mentioned artificial intelligence earlier. I know there's companies that were in this data mining of 5,500 space and new companies that are thinking, oh, we could use artificial intelligence to really sift through the hundreds of thousands of 5,500s and really narrow down things in a much more efficient way than we've done historically. Sherry says yes. So, I mean, that's kind of exciting, but then I kind of circle right back to the same point, like, great advisor. Here, you have a list of 10 companies that you've never met in your fucking life. You don't know anyone there. And you know that they're all between 10 million and 15 million with 50 to 200 participants. And they're with these kind of vendors. And they clicked this code on their 5,500 because they failed their ADP test. Big fucking whoop. How does that get you anywhere closer to
Dude,
Chad?
you are in some
Well,
ways. Like,
I mean,
all it takes is, sorry, go ahead, Trey. Go ahead.
no, go ahead, Chad. I apologize. Go ahead.
It just takes one, JD. We always talk about the people who buy leads. Like, all you need to do is close one to cover the cost of the leads you purchased for the year.
Yeah, but a
Now-
lead's a meeting.
Are they going to be any more efficient in closing those? I don't know. Are they going to be more efficient in getting in front of one if they send out a mailing to 50 or 75 groups in their area that have had corrective distributions? Yeah, they probably will get a meeting out of sending out one email that is mass
guess the
produced to
question-
50 different groups.
I guess the question though, in our old friend Stephen Wilkinson, what does he say? Nothing
Not all.
works. Everything
Works well.
Nothing works
No.
well.
Nothing works
Nothing-
great.
everything works, nothing works well, or nothing works great.
Yeah.
And so my point is, okay, but we're grouping together here on a Thursday night. We're trying to figure out like what's the best, most efficient, most strategic approach.
That's
And
not it.
And I'm just starting to think that pulling a list to understand like what targets are in your geographical area or size or whatever is, I think there's a lot better ways to spend your time is all I'm saying than doing that.
But that was kind of my point. That time spent, JD, is so minimal. Like Justin said, you can call a record keeper, give them a few parameters. They're going to pull a list with all the characteristic codes. They're going to give you one-page overviews of the highlights that they identify as issues. It's all done via automation. And then you build an email template that goes out to those folks that say, hey, yeah, I was checking businesses in our area. I noticed you didn't have a fidelity bond. And so I thought I'd reach out and see if anybody's talked to you about that. It could be that simple, and you could send it out to 30 companies in your zip code.
Or if you're smart, you look at the 5,500, you find out who the chief financial officer is. You do some kind of black market search on that person, find out where they live. You park out in front of their house and slouch down in your driver's seat, and then you follow them to Starbucks, or maybe they go to a local gym and you join that gym and you get right next to them when it's time to do push-ups and you say, hey buddy, you smell good. And they say, oh, you smell good too. And you start a friendship. And then 4 weeks later, you drop the hammer and you sell them a 401k plan. Boom.
So you did
That's
that?
Let's go to the next one. One more. Oh, okay. This is fun. An introduction to travel hacking. Do you know who does this presentation? Anybody? I know Trey does, but I'm sure Sherry fits. You're such a good student, right at the front of the class. Thomas Clark of the Wagner Law Group, 2:25 p.m. on Monday, October 16th. And Trey, I'm thinking this one's been done before. I think it was done last year, maybe the year before. But people
No, it's been at our event, you mean, or just out there?
Was it somewhere else?
Because he hasn't done this at our event probably since pre-pandemic, at least.
Trey just caught you,
Who
JD.
knows?
Wow.
Maybe he's been moonlighting on you somewhere else. I don't know. But I'm guessing you're doing this because it's pretty popular. Yeah, people like this.
Well, it's popular and the programs change, right? So
true, it
even
evolves.
even the way the credit card deals are with the loyalty points and all that stuff, so it's changed, but so it's a
Ooh, I'm
popular one.
interested.
It's always he always packs the room with that topic. This is probably out of the this is our ninth year doing this. I think this is his third time doing it over time. So we space it out. So he comes about every 4 years or so.
Cool,
But
cool
it's
tra-
different. Like the idea is the same, but
Sure.
the execution of it's different because of what the programs are at the time.
Yeah.
Well,
And those programs change. Yeah, exactly. I'm in. Even if I'd been before, I'd be going to that one in a heartbeat.
I'll tell you one that I learned many years ago. I'm probably gonna get in trouble for this, but sitting in the back seat of a car with two of my defined contribution investment only friends, and I think their names rhymed with Patty Munter and Jimmy Flay, and there was another one in the car, and his name was Steven Monster. And anyways, one of them got on the phone with a hotel and was trying to book, because they travel up and down the West Coast to go meet with advisors. He's trying to book a hotel room at a really fancy hotel. And I'm sitting there, I got so awkward because he's like, can you try the IBM code? And they're like, tick, tick, tick. Sorry, there's no discount for the IBM code. He's like, can you try the Morgan Stanley code? And they're like, I'm sorry, we don't have a discount for your room on the Morgan Stanley code. He went through like 5 fucking codes. And finally he got one, and the chick's like, okay, your $600 room is only $175 for the night because you're using this code with this business. And I'm like, is she concerned that you don't work for those 8 companies you just mentioned? And he goes, when they ask me that, I just tell them I work in retirement plans and I work with all of them, And and I was like, so I said, hey, can I write down some of those codes? Like, give me some. And I started writing them down, and my wife's been using them for years. And recently it's kind of dried up, to your point. Like some of the hotels say, no.
Oh, I was gonna say you've been holding out on us.
So anyways, travel hacks with Thomas Clark. It should be fun, should be cool. And again, that's on well, I don't know when that's on. I lost my little piece of paper. You can find it at wealthatwork.live. Okay, Chapter Champion. Last week's champ was Nathan Bell. Do you know where he works, Mark? Do you remember where Nathan works?
No.
Human Interest. He works at Human Interest. I wrote him today and I said, hey, bro, I think I started the direct message with bruh. And he wrote back and I said, where you stay right now, my dude? Like, I need to send you some stuff. You're Chapter Champion. And he wrote back and he goes, nah, it's cool, bro. Like, I'm just cooking out with my niece or sister or something. I don't remember. Is he still here? Is he here? And he said, so you don't have to send me anything. And I said, look, if I'm not going to send you anything, then I threatened him. And I said, I'll send like 24 raw chickens. Or I was thinking maybe like big old fish with their heads attached or something.
Jeez.
And I'll fucking send him to Human Interest corporate headquarters. Attention, Nate Bell. And by the way, if he didn't respond to me, I fully intend to follow through with that shit. Like, I'm going to send that shit. He wrote back and he said, okay, I'll take a little something. So I sent him some desserts. I'm not going to read the whole list. I basically went to Dunkin' Donuts. It's right down the street from where he was at. And he's got like 24 donuts and like 25 of the little donut holes and some kind of ice creamy kind of drink. So congratulations to Nate Bell, a first time winner from Chapter Champion last week. I hope you enjoyed and have finished the donuts. Now remember, we've changed up Chapter Champion a little bit. We're each going to vote for someone, and then whoever makes the final list, they got to go head to head in a battle in the chat bar to finish a sentence that Roby creates for them. So, and Roby, do you have like 3 minutes?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, Justin, your vote for Chapter Champion.
It's no secret. I thought I was going to sneak this one in, but it's Maddie and Mrs. Hackler. Chat bar's all over it.
Okay. So, what's it, Mike? Is that who you're talking about?
I think Mike's gone. I said she bounced.
Did she? Damn.
Well, that's going to be an easy win. That's going to be an easy win for someone. And that there won't be here to compete. So well done, Justin. Chad, your vote for Chat Bar Champion.
Oh man, it was early comments and then he got quiet. So hopefully he's still listening, but it's Brian Williams.
Oh, okay. The certified public accountant. Am I getting that right? Trey, your vote for Chat Bar Champion.
I'll have to go after coming off the overwhelming success of Sway. I would say Sherry Fitz.
Oh, Sherry Fitz.
Sherry was solid tonight. That's a good
You
one.
little conference buddy, you and Sherry. By the way, I was at Sway with the company that Road Guy does not allow me to mention, and it was a phenomenal conference. There was tears, there was kumbayas, there was great relationships were built. Well done, Sherry Fitz. Road Guy, your vote for Chat Bar Champion.
I'm gonna go with the tried and true. I've enjoyed his presence and his nonstop comments. Is Greg Greenfield.
Greg Greenfield. Oh wow. Okay, this might be a battle of some greatest of all times because I am gonna go with Moisesef. Is she still here?
Daniela. She's still here.
Still here. And she can be
She
sharp in the chat bar. So dare I say, I'm betting on my horse for this. Not that you're a horse, Daniela, but you know what I mean. You know what I mean. All right, Roby. What sentence are they going to finish? Drum roll.
Brandon's got to have little monkeys that do that.
That's not what a drum sounds like.
Okay. If you were taking Mr. Hackler out on a first date, where would you take him?
Nice. And would you pay?
Never.
Okay, and we all know who we're looking for, right?
Sherry.
Oh, that's pretty solid. Sherry with Hooters. What a great start and quick. Daniela with To the Marshes by the Meadowlands. That must be an East Coast thing that I don't know, or is that a?
Sounds like someone was trying to bury him.
Gigi says mini golf.
Who do we get with mini golf? Oh,
Gigi,
Gigi, mini
Greg.
golf. Are we missing someone yet?
That's two for Chad
Greg,
right there.
Greg. No, yeah, Greg.
No, that doesn't count right now.
Oh wait,
We're an after show, Justin.
No, we are not.
Mini golf is Greg. Okay, we're
Fuckers.
missing the CPA. Damn it.
Brian.
Wait,
I
who
said he
do
got
we have?
quiet at
Hold on, we
the
have
end.
Sherry.
Oh, bada
Brian.
bing is what Brian said.
Brian goes with Bada Bing.
Yeah, what's
Brian, you were
what is
supposed
bada
to
bing?
come up with an answer, dude.
Okay.
Don't make me look bad.
To
Jeez.
be honest with you, I mean, I
I don't know. Brashaw said bottom golf, and I love that so much.
but Brashaw's not in the final.
I know. I'm saying I wish he was.
So am I wrong, or is this a Hooters?
It's
It's Sherry. It's Sherry.
gotta
for
be a
sure.
Sherry.
Oh, Sherry Fitz, congratulations.
Sherry Fitz delivering.
Sherry Fitz, you are Chat Bar Champion again.
You did see that she's already requested her prize, right?
Oh no, I
You
know
want
I know what her prize is. I'm gonna go off.
Oh, hey, wait, hold on, time out. Someone mentioned it, so I researched real quick. The Bada Bing is apparently a fictional strip club on the HBO drama television show The Sopranos.
Oh, we
That's
kinda
well,
failed
yeah.
on that one.
But we didn't know. We didn't know.
Yeah.
It's
So
already
Brian,
set in stone.
kudos, Brian, thank you.
But
I didn't have faith. Well done, buddy.
You
But
got to
he's
send
saved.
Sherry red vines.
He saved face. That was a good answer had we known. But to Mark's point, you need to know your audience. We don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
We're dum
watch
dums.
the show.
Yeah, we're dum
Sherry,
dums.
I will run off to a glass kiln and mold a heart in the shape of my own heart for you. And no, I don't know. We'll figure out what we're gonna send you. What did she say she wanted?
Red vines. A case of them.
Red vines.
Yeah.
I'll send you a fucking Toyota pickup truck full of red vines. I'm gonna do case of them.
All right.
Okay. One thing before we leave. Two things.
I got
actually.
one too.
Very quick. I just want to give an update on Mickey Murphy.
That's what I was gonna do.
Okay. Well, she's alive. She's had she can't even count the surgeries. Her husband says I don't know, 16 or something. I'm guessing, but she's alive and she has a phenomenal attitude. I've been kind of messaging her back and forth. They have amputated her leg at her knee, and she's like, fuck it. She didn't say fuck it. I did. She's like, it's all good. I'm going to get a prosthetic or whatever. I'm going to become Terminator chick. Like, she just has a phenomenal attitude about this. So horrific car accident. We were all worried about her. And by the way, she was celebrating eating a sandwich on her own just yesterday. So, I mean, she's still dealing with a lot of tough stuff, but she's got a great attitude and she's alive, more importantly. And then I hate to bring this up, but I feel like I owe it to this guy. And when I say I hate to bring it up, I don't like to bring up an unalive story, but this guy meant a lot to me. So Richard Carpenter, who I think if you're in the TPA after show. I think if you're in the TPA world, you probably know who this guy is. He started TAG, which was Technical Answers Group. And I just have to say that Tony says legend. I agree. I have spent hours on the phone with him down in the Caribbean or wherever he is living, and we would talk shop, and he was just a big supporter of everything that we were doing. We actually did an episode with him way back in the day.
He brought us all around too. Like, he was just so kind.
So he was an inspiration, a mentor, a really cool guy who in kind of the theme of this show, like never really like fit that cookie cutter mold. He was proud to like just be himself and kind of rock a room. And so I'm personally cheers to Richard Carpenter and his life. I'll celebrate him. I'll think of him. I'll miss him. Like, I was bummed to hear that, but fuck being bummed. Dude lived a sick life. He was a happy guy. And I cherished kind of the time that we had together. Did you have something else, Chad? Because I have one thing to say to Trey before we close.
Nope, it was just Mickey. It was just an update.
Okay, Trey, I want to say thank you to you and the people at Advisor 2X for setting up your fucking conference on my anniversary every year. Okay? My marriage anniversary is on the goddamn day you guys have your conference, and you're doing wonders for my marriage. So thanks a lot.
Hey, didn't you get a puppy last year from this conference?
Yeah,
thanks
he
a
did.
lot, Trey, Bryant, and Ross.
I think it's doing swimmingly.
Well, we
pick
pick all of these great places to celebrate your anniversary, right? We're going to be in Maryland this year. Okay, so
Trey, I'll text you my wife's number and you try to explain that to her, because she wasn't psyched on our anniversary in Las Vegas last year or whatever it was. I'm kidding. We love you, Trey. Thanks for putting on the event, and thanks for hanging out with us here tonight. We will see you at Wealth at Work in October.
Yes.
And out there, if you don't know what that is and you're not going there, you should be there.
And we enjoy having you guys. You've been with us since our second one, all the way back at Planet Hollywood.
Yeah. It's been great. It's been great. So we look forward to it. And then again, chat bar. I mean this. We love you guys. We love you girls. We want to stick our tongue down your throat. That's how much we love you.
We love you guys, but also step it up. Step it up.
And with that, I owe you all a Smirnoff Ice. I apologize. I'll do that right now. And
oh my God, you did it. You fucking
Brandon, play us some music, and we will see you next time when it's the first or the third Thursday of the month. We're the Retireholics. We're changing the retirement plan industry one beer at a time. See you later.
See you, Trey.
See you, Chad. Thank you, brother. Bye, guys.